Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success, episode 187. It is Friday. It's a beautiful autumn Friday here where I live in Hastings, and I'm sure where Matt lives in St. Pete, Florida as well. Good morning, sir. And how's your Friday so far?
I mean, it couldn't be better, my friend. It could not be better. It's been awesome. It's been, it's just been great. I want to say this real quick at the very beginning of today's show. It's good to see you, Mike. It's actually good to see you. Tell us how you've been doing lately, man. Is it fallish up there in Minnesota?
It's actually good to see you as well. Hey, yeah, it is really. The leaves are starting to turn. It was 55 degrees this morning. It doesn't get any better than this. This is why people live in Minnesota. Here in a couple hours, we're actually driving up north to Bemidji, which is about 4.5 hours north, nearly to Canada, and we're going to be doing some, evangelism, preaching up there. So it's going to be exciting. Going to have a great time. And fall in Minnesota, man, it's beautiful. I wish you were here with me. We would go for a hike.
We would hike and we would hammock, man. We would chill.
Hammock.
We would build a fire. I love fireplaces. Let me tell you this. One of my most favorite parts about life is fireplaces. It's in my top 10 reasons to live. It's like up there, of why I live. You know what I mean?
You're talking like real fireplace with wood in it, burning. Because I've got like this electric one back here,
You're going to
which
be
is
out
good.
of pocket this weekend.
Really.
Now I see why the urgency of getting that stuff to you last night.
Schedules are amazing. I will be able to get some work done while I'm up there, so don't fret, don't freak out. It's going to be okay. I'll have 3 or 4 hours in between, you know. Hey, back to the show.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for being here live.
The conversation.
Everybody watching.
How rude of us. We have a show to run.
Well, we almost just launched into a business meeting there.
You really
Let me
did.
get my pen out. Let's see. So Matt, what do you think of
I
that?
forgot we were doing a show. I really did. For a minute, I was just, because a lot of times we do business chats right here like this. So I almost just went in and forgot. Anyways, hey everybody, welcome to Fuel for Success. Good to see everybody that's watching live and those that are watching on the archives. Thank you for watching as well. As you know, I'm taking Mike's line here. Just like every Friday, we talk about family and relationships. Tell us what we got in store today, Mike.
Well, we are going to talk about family and relationships. I want to remind everybody you're free to ask questions and interact during the show here live in the chat box. You can type in down below, although sometimes I miss those. I need to do better about that. And you can also email them in, mike@mattmaddox.com. Here is the link for that. Or text them in at 727-341-5599. Incidentally, if you haven't already done so, if you want to receive periodic motivational text messages from that same number, just send @start, I'm going to type it in here, to that number, 727-341-5599. And
what that does is once a week we send out motivational text. So you might be having a bad day. You might be just kind of not really feeling the vibe. Maybe you're feeling down, and then all of a sudden, ding, or whatever your text noise is. Here we show up with a highly, extremely motivating text, man.
What is your stress noise?
My stress noise
What's your
text noise.
What? Oh, text noise. I thought you said stress noise. I'm like, hey, that's an interesting concept. I was thinking like a
My
teacup.
name is Mike Hopkins. Oh, thanks, Al. Wow, that might be the first time Al has complimented us, Mike. We need to take a screenshot of that right there. No, Al, we love you, man. We like to mess with you. Anyways, Mike, we do love to talk about family and relationships on Friday. This is one of our favorite subjects, and, this is Fuel for Success. You ready for this? And you know this quote, right? I'm going to give you 3 quotes. Those closest to you determine your success. Ready? Not only listen, those closest to you determine your success. And what you become 5 years from now is determined by two things only: what you read and who you associate with. So the reason why we give an entire show every single week on Fuel for Success is because I need everyone to understand. Every once in a while I break it down like this, that the goal of this talk show is to empower and motivate and coach you to live the most successful life that you can live. I mean, we want you to go to the top and beyond. We want you to excel. We want you to reach complete freedom, happiness, to be fully empowered, to enjoy life. We want you to, Mike, listen, there cannot be real success when your relationships are broken. This is why you see some people that, their business fails. A lot of time it's because of a situation in a relationship. A lot of times someone's energy is really low. It's because they're in some toxic, either friendships, relationship, whatever. It's all about, listen, it's all about relationships. Why do you think Henry Ford, right? The Henry Ford that created Ford, right? He said, I will pay more for the ability to get along with people than anything else. Think about that for a minute, because he understood that it's all about people and it's all about relationships. If you want life to be good, I mean good, where you're happy and you know it. Come on, Mike. And, don't forget, our viewers need more singing, they say. So anyways, if you want happiness and satisfaction and you want to feel fulfilled and you want to have good energy, right, and good success, then your relationships need to be good. When you're going through life and your grandma doesn't talk to you and your brother doesn't invite you over for the cookout and your wife, doesn't want to sleep in the same bed with you, and every time you go to hug your kids, they pull away. Like, how fun can life be when that's happening? When all of your relationships are crumbling. So we like to really help people on Fridays, Mike. We talk about parenting. We talk about marriage. We definitely talk about dating, because y'all know I am the dating doctor, the expert here. And we talk about friendship. We talk about conflict. So that's what today is all about, Mike.
That's right. And I don't know that there's any type of success that's more fulfilling than relationship success. But understand that success on a whole throughout life is like a symphonic blend of different facets of success. And that's why we take this synergistic, holistic approach to success.
That is actually,
I just wanted to use the word symphonic.
That is actually a good word that you just used, Mike. Symphonic.
Symphonic. It is.
That's good, my friend.
Hey, I've got some questions I want to jump into, but real quick, because this leapfrogs off something you just said, and Britton's asking, she lives in a smaller town. What are some good ways to increase your circle of motivated and successful people? We know that if we get around motivated and successful people, that'll impact us long term. Maybe you live in a small town like 600 people, and you don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of people to pick from, for example. What's your advice for Britton?
Social media, Britton. Social media is your answer in those situations. You're going to have to build your sphere, your inner circle of highly successful, motivated people through social media and through, long distance. It's hard, or it's challenging. I mean, if you're in a small town and there's not that many people that have drive or passion, or they're not motivated, like literally, Mike. And I know this what I'm about to say sounds kind of like harsh a little bit, but friends, and I know there's teenagers watching. Hi, teens, what's up? And there's kids that watch this show as well. Like, and I'm always on Caleb about this. Like, you have to be so careful and picky about your inner circle. You ready for this? You ever met someone that was a picky eater? or somebody that just maybe like people might say of someone that's like single. Well, you're just too picky, right? Friends, when it comes to your inner circle, be picky. So to answer your question, Britton, you have no other choice, in my opinion, to go to social media to find an increase of, motivated and successful people. If you can't find any in your small town, the only other way to do it in your small town is, go. There's an old saying that says, "Go where the people are that you want." So obviously, I don't know. I mean, I've never lived in a small town, Britt. I've been in them before. Mike,
Well, first of all, I'm disappointed in you terribly
let's hear it.
because the clear, obvious answer is to watch Fuel for Success.
Ah!
But
There you go.
no, but
With Pacey, thanks to Fuel for Success, and they're like this, man.
The thing, and in all reality, I mean, there's a lot of, and I think Mary mentioned, there's a lot of great stuff out there. Fuel for Success. We try to motivate. We try to give you success principles, and this definitely one resource. There's other resources that you can go to that are also just to fill your life with that positive motivational stuff. The other thing is maybe look around and recruit somebody who's maybe not that motivational, and like give them the link to Fuel for Success and say, hey, watch these guys. And after a couple of weeks, maybe their mindset, if they're really interested in being successful, you could literally develop, you could have your own farm team there, your success farm team.
Nice, Mike. I like it. We will jack them up, is what he's saying, Britton. They may not be motivated today, and they may not be successful now, but after 2 weeks of being here, they will be. And we're going to help out your small town, Britton. So get a yard sign that says Fuel for Success and put it all over your small town. And we'll create a whole, you know what we'll do? We'll start a movement in your small town. That's what we'll do. We'll jack people up in that small little town. No, there is a thing called Meetup, Britton. You might want to check it out, believe it or not. Now in Tampa Bay, like for me, I go where successful people hang out. I do it on purpose. I push myself out of my comfort zone. So in this city right now, without even thinking about it, I can think of 20 options of where I go, whether it's restaurants, certain parts of town, certain tea shops or juice bars, or even like that place. Okay, you ready? That place where you see me post a picture called the Oxford Exchange? It's like nothing but young businessmen and entrepreneurs and highly driven, successful people. I mean, you all the time see people in there holding business meetings and interviews, and there's just such a vibe there. So I'm there 2 to 3 times a week meeting people. I'm there because it lifts my energy. It's good for me to be in that environment. I really believe environments are important. And so that's what I do, Britton. But as far as a small town, Mike hit the nail on the head for you, so that's good. Mike, what's our next question, my friend?
Well, real quick, Hannah's asking about shipping her boss. As far as I understand, and in my experience, FedEx has a policy against shipping humans unless you dismember them first. Okay,
but we provide a service. Mike and I provide a take them out type of service. So if you need people taken out, we've done that a few times. So just hit us up, Hannah, privately if you don't mind. We prefer not to tell people on our talk show that we can take people out for you. At a small fee, of course. But anyways. Yeah, I'm glad you have your headphones on too, because next week you'll be watching Fuel for Success in your pajamas with a bowl of ice cream, because you would be fighting back, oh my God, I lost my job.
It was their fault. Some success principle. Okay. Good. So, hey, next question, really, some questions came in. And here's a question that I have for you. And I'm almost about once a week, you see a frustrated post on social media about somebody that sees like a parenting faux pas out in public. What are some things that you've seen parents do, some mistakes that when you see it, you're just like, and that we could learn from, that parents watching this could glean from, maybe some tips or pointers based on mistakes that you've seen.
Well, we've covered this in previous shows, so I'm going to keep it extremely brief because we've actually given a lot of, go back. I do recommend you go back to all of our Friday shows and rewatch because there's actually been a lot of good stuff about relationships and parenting and marriage and dating and whatnot. If I just had to name right now, if Mike and I are sitting down at Starbucks and sipping on tea and coffee, right? And he was to say to me, say, Matt, let me ask you this, buddy. In all your travels, you've been at airports, you've been wherever, you've done a lot of one-on-one coaching. You're a people guy, right? What like frustrates you? Or what is something you've seen parents do that you think is just an absolute no-no or a mistake? I would immediately say this. I would say probably Mike, probably
That's
the
not
number
what I just
one.
asked.
What?
That's not what I just asked you.
Probably, I would say, the number one mistake that I think parents make is not motivating their kids or inspiring their kids through accentuating the positive. I see too many parents speak as authoritarians, if I could use that word, dictator type language. You'll do it because, and at the end of the day, that's right, and your kids should obey. But if that's something you've got to use as a dad or a mom, like you'll do it because I said, then you really haven't learned how to really influence your kids by accentuating the positive. I think just too much negativity and too much sarcasm and too much harsh, I've seen this would be like, and of course there's probably 10 to 15 that I could name, but you're asking for one. So whoever asks this question next time, ask for 3 or 5 and you'll get more. But for your one, that would be one for me. Mike, anything you would say differently?
Not necessarily differently, but sort of the sideline on that is that I see parents, and maybe it's because I live in the uptight north here, but parents like get uptight when they're in public with their kid, and maybe they're standing in line at the restaurant or something. The kid will ask a question that's a kid question, right? Kind of a dumb question, and the parent will be like, "No, don't be quiet," right? Because they're uptight about what everybody's going to think around. It's like, lighten up, they're a kid. They're going to say dumb stuff. Everybody understands that, right? And that whole like oppressive uptightness about parenting, it's like just relax a little bit. Let your kid be a kid. Let them say dumb things once in a while. It's don't be embarrassed about it. Is what I'm saying. And I see parents get embarrassed and uptight, and it's kind of like what Britton said, where it's belittling and humiliating to the kid, and it closes off that relationship and closes off communication.
Really does. And at the end of the day, Mike, I think too many parents have lost sight because of whatever of what their long-term goal with their kids are in the first place. Because many kids grow up resenting their parents, and you don't want this. You can't lead when people resent. And when your kids resent you, you're going to have a hard time really influencing them and leading them, especially the older they get in life. So don't be the parent that your kids resent. There's the quote of the day. It's a good question that Al asked. The Adrian Peterson situation going on. What do you think of spankings? Obviously I haven't read too much about it, Al, just to be honest, because I've been so busy this last few weeks that I haven't really seriously slowed down to do much of anything. So I know very little about it. So I'm going to have to pass for now. What do I think of spankings? I absolutely believe in them. But I believe they need to be done right, of course. I don't believe in ever spanking your children out of anger. And I don't ever believe in spanking them with your hand. If you ever are going to spank your kid, do what the Bible says, the rod, a.k.a. spoon, belt, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But not with your hand, in my opinion. I don't believe your kids should ever fear your hands. So I do believe that, spanking is biblical, it's healthy, it's good. I think kids that grew up and maybe got a whooping, I don't think it's child abuse. I really don't. I think if there's like, obviously that's like, if a parent's like angry and screaming and like just that, I never ever have spanked my child in the moment of frustration or anger, because that's when it gets out of hand, in my opinion. So you got to give it time. Sometimes I waited a day, on certain things, or waited a few hours just so I knew that I was 100% calm and in control of my emotions. Because too many parents, they are raging like out of control. And that's just, you know what it is? Reality, it's bad parenting. When you see a parent out of control, it's actually, the real issue is it's bad parenting. Like we talked about before, when you've got to count, when you ask your kid to do something and you've got to count, you have zero control as a parent. Like, I have trained my son to immediately respond with yes, sir, when I ask him to do something, even if he doesn't want to do it. And I said, now you can ask me a question. If you don't get why I'm asking you to put the ball back in the garage right now, you're more than welcome to ask. But after you say yes, sir, and you start to take action, like, never make me say it twice. It's a whole nother story, in my opinion, Mike. Your thoughts on this?
I also don't know, even though it's, I'm in Minnesota, I know almost nothing about the Adrian Peterson situation. I could, give you my opinion on the NFL, but that's probably another show. But I concur. It's biblical. I think that, and I've had people mention that they don't believe, spanking is necessary. And with some kids, every kid is different. Look, that's the thing that people have to understand, is that there's no wide swath that covers every situation. I have 3 kids, and all 3 of them are completely different, right? My daughter, my youngest, hardly ever. I mean, you literally like tell her, you know what, I'm not happy about what you did, and she would like break down. That was pretty much all you needed to do.
Worse than
my son, on the other hand, yeah, exactly. My son, on the other hand, different story, right? So there's different personalities, different types, and I've met parents who say, and they've maybe raised 1 or 2 kids, and they're like, I never had to spank my kid, and I don't understand why anybody ever has to. And it's like, well, you don't necessarily. I mean, different kids are different, so don't cast that broad scope on that thing. So,
well, I got my share of spankings when I was a kid. Let me tell you right now, I got all kinds of whoopings, folks. I mean, I got some beating back in the day, my friend. Many a beating. But borderline was abuse, in my opinion.
Some kids just flat need more, Matt. That's just all there is.
I probably did. There's probably no question about it. There's no question that I deserved probably 40% of my spankings. The other 60% are debatable. And so, I used to have a deal with Caleb that if I ever laughed when I was getting ready to spank him, then I wouldn't spank him. Like, it was a deal because, and there was a couple, I don't know why I made that deal. I just did. I said, look, if I ever, because, it's like, like sometimes a kid, like when they're like, screaming bloody murder, like, no, Dad, please. I mean, one time my son was like, in Jesus' name, no. He was like, he threw the Jesus name card at me, dude, and it caught me off, and I started cracking up, and then he got out of spanking that day. But the next day, I was like, you know something? You got off yet? No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking, guys, but y'all relax. No need to call Child Protective Services. My son is very healthy. Hear me? He's emotionally strong. He's in good shape. He doesn't cry at night. He's all right. But anyways, we're going to have to help our friend Hannah because, she's wanting to take out her boss. Now she's talking about hairbrushes. So I don't know, Hannah. We're going to have to maybe, I do some one-on-one coaching. I'm here for you. No, Hannah, I'm just joking. Hairbrushes, probably not the best, tool for spanking. But better than the hand, I can tell you that. Huh?
I think maybe we should bring my mom on and have an interview with her one time about this.
It's actually a good idea. My dad gave head smacks. There was no belt. It was head smack, my friend.
Like one of these?
my head's still swishing around. There's stuff just not set straight up there. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm like continuously like it's just yeah. Hey, to each his own. So what's our next question, Mike? How did you let us get right off into spanking for 10 minutes, my friend?
Someone asked a question. We answer questions here regardless of how.
Yeah, I know, Pacey.
Okay, so
It does, Pacey. It explains a lot. Explains like every time someone tries to go like, you know, like when they move their hand, I like jump. No, I'm just joking. You know, I could be sitting next to Mike or Carol. Definitely Carol. If Carol's hands move, I jump. I'm just letting everybody know up front. I'm really jumping when Carol's hands move, no matter what. I don't care if she's grabbing the knife or the peanut butter, you know, or she's like grabbing the pillow or whatever. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean it. You know, it's just natural, you know. You get so many beatings from her that, you know, after a while she moves her hand once. It's like, you know what I mean? Anyways. Glad Carol's not on today. Carol, we love you. If you're watching later, I'm sorry.
Next question. This one's a little bit kind of on a personal bent. Let's ask if you could, and hopefully we can learn from, you know, one of the great things about life is you need to learn from mistakes. Learn from your own mistakes. It's a lot easier to learn from others' mistakes. So let's hear about some of your mistakes. If you go back in time and do something different in any relationship, what would you do different?
That is probably one of the best questions I've been asked. I would do 3 things different. If I could literally click rewind and relive all relationships, I would never, ever try to communicate my feelings, like a real conflict, through email or text. That would be the number. If I could do it all over in any relationship, whether it be dating or a friend or a coworker, any situation. If there's ever a conflict, it has to be face to face or verbal. It has to be. Like 100% of the time, you cannot handle conflict in relationships through text or email or in writing. You just cannot. There's no way. You'll have 100% failure if you try to communicate conflicts in writing. That would be probably the number one thing that I would go back in time and do different. The second thing that I would go back in time and do different, Mike, is, wow, this actually I could cry when I say this, is I would actually live in the moment in all of my relationships and connections, because I don't care. It's like what we've talked about. There's zero I can do about this. The fact that there are some relationships that are seasonal, no matter what. Like God himself intended those relationships to be seasonal. That in my lifetime, I will never again have an interaction with some of those people ever. I mean, some of them are dead. Some of the relationships I would actually, in life, if you don't live in the moment, you miss a lot. And really cherishing each relationship, each connection, each friendship, because there will come a day, remember, there's seasonal relationships and there's lifelong relationships. There's some people that are only in your life for a season. And I would have really cherished, because I actually have some that I would love to go back and relive those moments, not because I live in the past, but because I would actually smile more. I would actually relax more in their presence. I would appreciate the good of them. I would ask more questions. I would really express. There's the word. I would express, because there's no way I can do it now. There's no way. There's really not. Well, maybe some of them I could, but most of them I cannot. I would express more how much they mean to me, even though it was a seasonal relationship. See, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Even relationships that may have gone sour, they may have crashed, they may have ended, whatever the case may be. You know, you cannot be the person that, like, you got to remember the good of everybody. Not everybody, even if a relationship ended bad, that person still had good in them that brought good to your life. Mike, we'll go 5 minutes over today just because, we can. Why? Why can we?
It's our show.
So that would be me, Mike. That would be something I would definitely do over again, is live in the moment and express more appreciation for those people, because I can't do it now. I can't. And that's hard sometimes. It is, because there's times I realized that I didn't, and I really do regret that I didn't. So that's actually a wake up call for everybody. I hope everybody just heard what I just shared over the last 5 minutes, and you take to heart that everyone that's in your life right now, they're in your life for a reason. And you need to verbally express to them your gratitude and how much you appreciate them. So that would be that. And what about you, Mike? Is there anything you would go back and just do differently in any relationships?
Well,
I know all the things you've done to hurt me, you can't take back. I've already forgiven you. So Mike, right here on our show, I want to let you go free, my friend, of all the guilt you have from all the painful things you've done in our friendship to me. I set you free.
You're so kind and gracious. I don't even deserve to be on the show. I'm kicking myself off. Real quickly, though, I think that I like what you just said, and it's one thing that I'd like to point out is that you don't know, like in the moment, what relationships are seasonal and which ones are lifelong, and you don't know if your friend is going to be here, in a week, or maybe they're going to get transferred to Taiwan, or maybe they're going to be, who knows what's going to happen. You don't have any idea what's going to happen in the future, and so I like what you said, and even relationships that go bad, there's an amount of fulfillment that you get from that relationship in the moment, and I like exactly, stop and smell the roses, like take it in, live in the moment, and that's great advice, really, for anyone.
Yeah, because you're right, you don't know. Like you hope in the moment, like you have this friend, this girl you're dating, this guy you're dating, your neighbor. You may have the best neighbor in the world, or maybe like you've got an inner circle. Whatever, like so much can change. Like your church could change overnight, the people that you're like really tight with, something could happen. And that's why it's so good to live in the moment and be in that place of gratitude. Because you're right, Mike, all the people that we think are going to be there forever, one day may not be. And when that happens, and when you wake up and realize, oh my, that was only a seasonal relationship, you can't go back. Like you just can't. You know what I'm saying? I like that. Hannah's wanting to redecorate your office. That's awesome, Hannah. Good. We'll take suggestions. That's good, right
Pacey's
there.
going to send me a picture of her. I'll put a big picture of Pacey back here. That would be awesome.
That's cool. Do that, Pacey. Or she sent a picture of me, Mike. That might go good.
I was maybe I need to increase my taste, but I was just thinking dogs playing poker.
That would be awesome, actually. I can totally see that. That's funny, actually, to me.
What was the question? Oh yeah. Hey, you know what? I have as soon as I read that question, a thought came to me, something that happened to me in the past. If I could go back and change any one thing, there was actually a business relationship that I was in that ended, and I was working for a company, and they treated me very well throughout the entire process, and then because of the downturn, the tech bubble and all that, I got laid off, and they were extremely good to me. And but I let the wrong voice speak into my life, and didn't necessarily take the right steps, and actually went back and said, hey, not happy about what happened, and we're thinking about, because they'd talked me into talking to them about a lawsuit, and I remember talking to the vice president of the company, and we had a tight relationship, and just the disappointment that he expressed to me when I let those wrong voices talk into my life, and I didn't. What happened was I forgot, all of the good that they'd done, and all the what they put in the bank account. I don't mean money, but I mean the relational bank account. They filled that silo with goodness. There's corn in the crib, as they say, and I'd forgotten about that, and I let the wrong voices speak into my life, and destroyed that relationship. If I could do anything right or over again, I'd go back and say, you know what, I don't want that. And we ended up reconciling and everything, but it was never the same, right?
Wow,
Once I saw that
powerful.
disappointment.
That's powerful, Mike.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're right. There is a point where even when there's a sorry and hey, I understand, I forgive, you're right. There are moments. It's like an analogy I gave when a girl broke my trust. I said, let me give you an analogy here, okay? I'm going to end the show with this because I'm all about analogies and word pictures. But what you just shared was very powerful about sometimes. I said, it'd be like you being so excited about this new dress that you've waited for a long time, right? This is like your dream dress. You get it, you put it on, you're getting ready to go out, and your kid innocently dumps grape juice on it. Or this could happen to maybe like you got new furniture or new carpet. And even if they came in and cleaned the carpet, right? Or you took it to the dry cleaner and they said, oh yeah, we'll do our best to get this stain out, right? And then you go to pick it up and it looks like it's gone, but only you can still see just that, I don't know. It's just that feeling of it's still there. How do you like that for a word picture, my friends?
It's a good one.
Mike, wrap it up. Tell us what we learned today, how we can apply it to our life.
We learned a lot of stuff. A bunch of takeaways here from today. First of all, never use written communication in conflict. Take advantage of the moments in relationships. Don't break trust, and whoop your kids when they need it. I think that's what we talked about.
And you know what? Can those that are close to Hannah, could we maybe sneak in and take the hairbrushes out of her home this weekend? Ellen Ray, can you pull that off for us? Hannah, we love you, though. We love our Canadian friends. Good to see the Serge and Bethany and everybody. All of our faithful viewers, thank you. Listen, those that make comments, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all that you shared. Thank you so much for the comments, the kind words. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you Monday morning. Mike and I are going to be on fire Monday morning, talking about the one and only health and weight loss. We look forward to seeing you. As you know, you can go to fuelforsuccess.tv. Recommend that you do. If this show helps you, please share it, pass it along, put it on your Facebook, and text it to friends and family or anybody that you think it might help. God bless, my friends. Enjoy your weekend.
We'll see you on Monday. God bless.